Well, hello there. I'm the old Growler, and this is a special presentation of Meeting Expectations. It's having a Fred Dex, the master sommelier, has invited us into the studio, and he's going to be tasting the beer along with us. Fred, tell the folks a little about yourself.
Yeah, Fred Dex here, the old Growler's neighbor and beer lover. I'm a wine guy by trade, but as they say, it takes a heck of a lot of beer to make great wine, and I'm always in for the shenanigans we're up to today and checking out this beer, and we'll give you the report if this meets our expectations. Ready to go.
Okay, if you're here for the first time, what we do is we take a look at the can or bottle of beer, we read the labeling on it and see what they're trying to sell us, and then see if it meets expectations. If you enjoy these programs, don't forget to click on both the subscribe and the bell. That way you won't miss any of our presentations.
Boom, boom, boom.
And for those of you who have been here before, oh, we've got a good one today. From here in Brooklyn, it is SixPoint Brewery's Sweet Action. And it says it is a year-round beer. It is in a 12-ounce, 355 milliliter container, 5% alcohol by volume, 40 international bittering units, 6.3 SRM, that is the coloring of the, there's a beer chart, a light chart that I have a link to down in the description box. Link on that and you can see what a 6.3 SRM means. And it sells itself as an ale. Okay, so we've got an ale here. The standard government warning about if I drink this I'll have birth defects and stuff. But okay, it says, ever hear of Sweet Action, the magazine? The short-lived sensation sparked one of our first collaborations, the beer you hold in your hand. We first brewed it for the launch party at Williamsburg back in 2005. It's now the original New York City Pale Ale that you found on every city block for the better part of a decade. From stoops to the dive bars, bodegas to rooftops, solid, classic, reliable, one sip, and you're back. Well, I don't know what you're back from, and it doesn't tell me much about what's in it. I don't see anything about of hops or malts or anything like that. It says it is formulated and brewed by SixPoint Brewery, Brooklyn, New York, Parksburg, Pennsylvania, and Downingtown, Pennsylvania. So they branched out.
So they have a couple breweries.
Yeah, right. And
good for them, right?
And it costs $2.19 at the local beer store, and I'll translate that into pounds sterling in the description box below. All right, Dex, what are we looking forward to here?
What are we looking forward to? Well, I remember when this beer came out in 2004 or 5, I remember putting it on draft at one of the restaurants because we liked the name. I thought Sweet Action just had a fun name. It was, and for brew, you know, I think this is sort of the second coming of New York beers. You know, Brooklyn had that spot. Brooklyn Brewery had, you know, owned that space for a long time. And I think this was that second wave in the early mid-aughts where you started to see more breweries like SixPoint pop up. And it was fun because we wanted to support local beers, you know, and we poured this by draft. I remember it being called a cream ale though in the beginning, and I see here it's a New York City Pale Ale, but maybe I'm mistaken. But yeah, this has become a classic beer. I think this is their flagship beer. I really like the Bengali, you know, the Tiger IPA. Sure. And I really like the resin. I think they do a really good job. And the unique thing about these guys is this can. Like, I don't understand. It's a skinny little. It's like it's a little skinny mini can. Yep. But it's just a little bit under 12 ounces, right? It's 11.
Let's see here. No, it's 12 fluid ounces. Well, 355 milliliters.
Let's get a couple of those ounces bouncing in the glass.
Crack it open and see if it meets expectations.
You can already see this color is a little bit of a darker amber.
Yep.
Try to get you a nice head there. Oh, look at that.
Oh, that's good.
Beautiful head.
Yeah. Nice copper color, nice copper penny.
Yeah, copper. Beautiful.
Head holds up well. All right. First sip. First nosedive.
Yeah, we discussed this in an earlier video. Oftentimes, I'll taste a beverage first, whether it's a wine or a beer, to really get all the textural components and some of that flavor in, and then I'll come back in and taste, actually I'll come back in and smell, because the beer is already starting to coat around my mouth, and I'll do a little breathing in, breathing out, orthonasal, retronasal out, to really get all the things going on, and you're getting both what's going on in your mouth and all the flavors that your tongue and all of this stuff's picking up, and also you get what's the olfactory. And the funny thing is, if you close your nose, if you pinch your nose and taste something, you can't. It basically just pretty much takes out all of the flavor and aroma. It tastes like nothing, but you can still feel texture.
Yes.
You can still feel what it feels like. So we've been playing around with that today.
There's a link right. It's going to be right up there in a few seconds. That goes back to a Budweiser tasting, and Fred explains it all there. So it's really interesting. So it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
What I like to call is the 5-second beer.
Yeah.
Is to where you take a sip. And you wait at least 5 seconds to get all of the different flavors that are coming out, because just to say, okay, well that's it.
Yeah.
No, there's much more in, especially in the finishing.
Well, the finishing, to me, this beer has a lot of the sweet action is on the back end of the tongue.
Yes.
Because that's where this 40 IBUs is pretty. That's low.
Yeah.
I mean, I like my 60,
It's
70.
identifiable. Well, it's identifiable. That's for sure.
It's identifiable, but it comes into the back end. And that's where you read the bitterness, and that's where a lot of the flavor comes, like the grapefruit peel, the lemon peel, the citrus peel, sort of that apple, and then you get the hoppy floral stuff, almost sappy, piney, resiny almost sort of flavors. But they really, if you split your tongue in half with this beer, a lot of that sweet action's on the backside. So you really do have to wait. And if you were probably drinking this in a pub or something, you wouldn't have this nice glass to come in and smell, so it's sort of fun. When you're drinking like a pint, you're not really paying attention to aroma.
No.
You're just
drinking.
You're drinking, right? And maybe if your nose hits the glass, and you smell a little bit, and when you're taking that sip, you'll get some of that aroma. But the fun thing with this is you can really size up, does the flavor that you taste, do you smell it? Because there's so much, hops are so aroma driven, right? Like that's the aroma of the beers. Like if you don't have hops in a beer, you don't really, unless you're adding different, fruits and chocolate or coffee or those things. If you just have a simple lager, that's not very hoppy, that it just smells like not a lot.
Yep.
You start putting some hops in, something like Pilsner or Kel, that's very recognizable because of those Saaz hops.
Yep.
And oftentimes, if you're just drinking it, you'll taste it. But smelling and tasting it together is pretty cool.
Well, I would say that Sweet Action delivers on all counts.
Yeah.
So, does Sweet Action by 6Point meet expectations? I think it does.
Well, this is actually, it's better than I remember it.
Wow.
It's a little different too. Maybe I'm remembering a different beer, but yeah. And you should check out the other stuff. I think the whole line of what 6Point does a pretty good job.
Super.
They meet expectations for me.
This is the old Growler, hoping all of your beers meet expectations.
Cheerio, mates.